Hey everyone, Ethan here from Extreme RC 4x4. Today in this video I'm going to be showing you how I built this aluminum Jeep body for my Traxxas Trx4. I just wanted to start the video here and tell you guys that I'm not going to be doing a ton of talking in this video. Try to limit it as much as possible so you guys can actually watch the build process for this. The only thing I really left out is like the design for these parts and some of the other things. Like a lot of the machining's not in there, a lot of the printing. This is kind of just a summary so you guys can see what happens. Anyways, please enjoy the video. I know it's a bit longer, but thanks for watching. Alright, so that's a little better than those big cap head screws. I got flat heads in here now, and they're recesses. The hood is printing now, so that's a 9-hour print, I think, and it is currently 12:45, so that should be done today, maybe 10 o'clock. This is what I'm using for my windshield. Alright, so you got a windshield. What do you guys think? It's a little bit wavy. Maybe under a little bit of tension, but looks pretty good. Probably just because that spot where it cracked weird and I couldn't get a screw hole put in right there, so if that's alright. Do a better job on the back window. I guess we can tighten up these side panels. That back window's probably done cutting right now. Sweet. It's coming out really good. So we can go ahead and put it in here now. The bottom holes are going to screw into this tunnel cover piece that will go here, and then they'll screw in from the inside of the body so that this will be kind of hidden underneath of that. I did cut this one a little bit smaller so that it would actually fit without me having to sand it. Crank up these springs a little bit. It feels stiffer. Let's see how far that gets us. Alright, well that's better. Sitting up taller in the front now, it's more even, not sagging so bad. I've also thought about putting these stock Trx4 tires back on it because they are wider. So, I mean, I guess we can have a look at that. I'm not doing anything. I pretty much have everything designed. I'm just waiting for the machine to finish up, and then I need to put a new sheet of aluminum on it and then cut the grill out. That doesn't look too bad to me. Maybe a different set of wheels on those tires, but I think I have a set of these tires brand new that I can use if I want to, that came with my Trx4 chassis kit. These are the ones off of the Fender. So I think I have another set of brand new ones that I never ran that I could potentially put on here if I wanted to. The printer. This is the inner fender for this side, which I designed to be like narrow, I guess you could say, so that I don't have any interferences with the shock, because I am running my trailing arm kit and wanted it to be kind of universal in case I decided to switch to something else down the road. Alright, so there we go. I'll show you guys here. This is just how wide it is, just so that it's not interfering with the shock at all, but it should keep all the snow and dirt, at least for the most part, out of here. I wasn't trying to like completely seal it all off, but this should work well. That way if I ever want to switch back to a regular shock tower, I can do that. And this also has a mount right here where that tailgate piece is going to bolt on once I get the other side in too. Alright guys, this is probably the coolest part I've made for this project yet. 7-slot grill, so hopefully Jeep doesn't try to get involved in the lawsuit like they did with the Mahindra rock source. Let's see here. Looks like this is pushing down on that a little bit, so that may cause me a little bit of an issue. Alright, that should do the trick. Alright, so got the grill on there. Ooh, looks good in the camera. Alright guys, another rear inner fender done. I don't know if I showed it to you last time, but basically what we're looking at just follows the fender with some holes in it. The holes don't go all the way through, they're only a 1/4 inch deep, and then another mounting hole for the tailgate. So this should pull all of our panels together. Alright guys, so last night the front inner fenders finished up as well as the hood, so go ahead and get this ready to go. Alright, so with this new hood installed, I should be able to get my body pins in, but I'm also going to be fighting these rock sliders now, so I think I will just trim the rock sliders with the Dremel instead of having to reprint these fenders. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys saw me replacing the hood, but I will need to remove this grill again and shorten it even more. I probably took not quite 1/8 of an inch off of it last time, and it's still hitting the frame rails, so that will need to be adjusted. But first, I have some inner fenders that go in here, and I just wanted to show you guys how that design turned out. This is this side, and as you can see, it goes all the way up right there. You can see it goes up into the hood, so I'm hoping that this will be good enough to keep a lot of the dirt out. Alright guys, so here's where I'm at right now. I still need to design what I'm going to do back here for the tunnel cover and how it's going to attach in the rear. But the front, with the new hood installed, I do have the body pins going in like they should be now. The front inner fenders I needed to trim, so I'm gonna redesign those and reprint them because it's a little bit more trimming than I just want to leave on there. So I'll get those redesigned, reprinted, and I'll get this back printed, and we should be pretty set. I know I need to machine a new grill. I was gonna have to take too much off of that, so not really sure where I was off with my measurements. I think what I missed was that I measured from the top of the hood to the bumper instead of to the frame rails, so I have a feeling that's where the inconsistency came from right there. And these are the Axial tires that I have on it here, and I'm kind of leaning towards the look of the stock Trx4 tires, but I really don't like these wheels all that much, so I'm gonna try taking this. This is my set of Trx4 tires that came on the chassis kit, and I'm gonna try putting them on these set of Traxxas beadlock wheels just to see how they look. So alright guys, so I'm looking at this right now, and actually I kinda like how these tires look. My kinda hang up with this is that these Axial tires, I could just put some stiffer foams in them, but to me they kind of look a little bit narrow for the width that I've gone, at least on the body. And this thing is such a large scale now that these tires look huge on the Defender, but this Jeep body is such a large scale that the tires don't look huge on the Jeep per se. So I think what I'm gonna do is swap all these Trx4 tires onto here. The Trx4 tires are, I think, going to be a lot better fit because they are wider, and that does cause a little bit of rubbing at full flex and while turning the tires, but nothing super concerning, I guess. Also, the foams in these are a lot stiffer, so I won't have to go out and buy a set of foams. As you can see, the Axial tires with the stock foams, even on sealed beadlocks, are kind of collapsing, but these tires are basically the same exact size, aside for the width. The height is identical, but they are wider. So I think what I'm going to do is take all these brand new Trx4 tires, swap them onto my Trx4 beadlocks. I am choosing to keep the wheel weights inside of the wheels. I was going to take it out just to save some weight on this thing, but I think I'm going to keep them in there because it's going to help lower the center of gravity. If I remove these, the center of gravity is going to be raised because I'm removing weight that's so low, and I kind of want to try to offset the weight of the body. And I did weigh this thing. So far it's not even 10 pounds yet, even with the battery in it. So really, I think we're doing pretty good. I was kind of expecting it to be heavier than that, but enjoy. I'm going to swap around some tires. Alright guys, so like most things, it's pretty hard to tell if you're gonna like it or not with it only halfway done. So here it is with those Trx4 tires on it, and I actually really like it. I think it looks nice with a wider stance, and a comment that my dad said last night is it looks kind of like a Hummer from the back, or a Humvee, how those vehicles were so wide but short, like this tailgate is back here, but gonna have some awesome departure angle in the back. Maybe not quite this good once I get a bumper on here, but still pretty sweet, and I think this looks really good. So I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow or whenever I get back at this, I'm going to cut a new grill out and get that printed, and then we should be well on our way. Maybe I'll design an interior. Alright guys, so what we're looking at here is my new grill that I had to cut out so that this will not hit the frame now. And then my two headlights with the headlight lenses. Basically what I did for this was there was no way I was going to be able to cut them out and match the shape perfectly, so I just did them roughly, put the holes in, put screws into them, and then what I did is I took it on the sander and matched the contour of the aluminum piece, and then I got this put a small sanding wheel on my Milwaukee Dremel, and here's the result that we're left with. It matches up good, and a lot of these small contours have to be here so that it won't make any contact with the hood, or so that you won't see it in the grill. These lenses don't need to be painted at all. The taillight lenses will have to get painted though. The brake lights will. Those lenses are so clear right now that you can barely tell they're in there, but I'll rest my finger on it. So that's awesome. I think these headlight buckets turned out really good. I used a ball nose to get the rounded shape, or smooth it at least. On my machine it doesn't come out like perfectly polished, but it's still better than doing like a flat. I was gonna mill them out so they're flat on the bottom, but I think they look really good like this and definitely look more realistic. So what do you guys think about that? That looks better than an empty grill, even if I didn't put lights in it. Man, that looks so good. Alright, let's go ahead and put it on the body. I'll put it this way so you guys can see. So, that's pretty awesome. It's gonna look really good once I get the lights in here. I'm gonna be robbing some lights out of a couple of CR12 bodies, so I'll have the headlights on and the turn signals on, like running lights. Alright guys, so I had to take the back window out so that I could trim these corners right here. I forgot to do, and that has to happen so that I can install this, which is my tunnel cover. It goes on just like that, but the back window actually attaches to this from the inside, so I wanted to get this screwed on before the back window gets put back in place. And I'm not going to put this tunnel cover on until I figure out the lights, otherwise I'm probably going to have a hard time getting into the lights with the inner fenders. So then this will all go back together like that, but not yet. So I think my next step is have a look at these lenses. I stopped for dinner. Alright, so as you can see, what I did there is just cut the clear protective paper, or whatever you want to call it, and then painted whichever light I wanted to be red, because I only have white and orange lights, so that's how I'm going to get red brake lights. And then each lens will swap, so this one will go back onto this guy here, just so that the painted side is on the inside. Will make it look shiny. Did the best I could to make it look fairly even. Should look alright once we get it on there. Alright, so there you go. We got some red lenses, and then the lower ones are for orange lights, turn signals. So hopefully the turn signals don't look too much brighter. That is all I had for red paint. That was semi-transparent, I guess, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm gonna try and get some lights in here. I'm gonna be robbing them out of this CR12. I have two CR12s here, at least the bodies. You can use one of these little dentist picks to get dirt out of the heads of these Allen screws, which will help you keep from stripping them. That came with one of the used CR12s I've bought, or, well, alright, so that's those guys in. I will be showing you guys what I'm going to do as far as the wiring to the truck in a little bit. But first, I need to reprint this mount to be a little bit more slim. We can go ahead and put the front lights in though. You're probably wondering why I chose not to do any kind of retainer clip on any of these light housings, and it's basically just because I can only machine from one side of the part. Otherwise I have to flip it over and relocate it, and it's not very precise. So I just like to do a nice friction fit, and that's usually worked good for me in the past. So the next step is really just doing this wiring of these lights, and I guess at this point we should probably install the tonneau cover in the rear, because the lights are in the light buckets now, shouldn't be getting pulled out. So I'll try my best to get this in here. And then I got those studs in the back where my body mount nuts will go. But I think it looks pretty good. Looks a lot better having the tonneau cover on it than being wide open in the back. Oh yeah. Alright, well, what's left for me tonight is I'm probably gonna hold off on the wiring. Well, maybe not. I'm not sure yet. I kind of want to see the lights. And the interior is going to go through here, or just set in here, you guys know that, but the wiring will actually has some looms that I can put it through, so I can't really solder anything together yet. That's my hang up. So that's going to be done tomorrow morning. I guess what I can work on though is some bumpers, so I'll get started on that. Alright guys, so I did up this half interior for this Jeep project. I usually don't put an interior in anything I do, but I figure if I was going to go this far, I might as well add an interior, and I'm not putting any side windows in this, so should help kind of seal everything off in there too. Basically, this is just a plain Jane interior, 2 bucket seats. You have some gauges here, steering wheel, shifters, cup holders, and then aside from that, there's really not much going on. I went with a tan interior, silver gauges, just a black steering wheel, and then I did the shift knobs silver just to make them pop. I thought if I just left this black, you wouldn't really notice a lot of the details, but this way you get to see a lot of them. I'm not the best painter in the world, but I still feel like this turned out pretty good, and it should look good in the truck. So go ahead and get this installed. Shouldn't be too difficult. I'm just going to loosen up some of the screws on the body because this is designed to be tight in there. So this side of the body I tried to use acetone on last night, and I ended up having to touch the paint back up and then sand it back off like I just did. Alright, so now I'm going to try and test fit the interior on the truck with everything plugged in, operational as it would be. The only thing is this antenna will have to shorten, so as long as I can get the body pins in, that would mean we're all set. Okay, well, that's always a good sign. Let you guys look in there. Looks pretty awesome. Yep, glad I did that. Here's my new rear body mount that is designed for this wiring that I plan to do. Should all make sense to you guys shortly. Okay, so the only difference between these two mounts is that I have these notches right here, which will allow me to install these pieces, these little electric eyelets, so that you could put a screw through. Hey guys, Ethan here from Extreme RC 4x4. I just want to show you guys my wiring setup on this Trx4. This is a 12.8 inch wheelbase. Has the lockers and the 2-speed. So I have my 2S LiPo battery plugged in here on the factory placement. Coming off the ESC, there's this red plug. I don't know what these plugs are called, but this is direct battery power. And then I have a Traxxas Y cable right here, which came with my Traxxas BEC. This way I still have another male plug that's open for any accessories that I would like to put on. I cut the other plug off the end of this and spliced in my own wiring, which goes up to my rear body mount. This will mount on factory rear shock towers, but I have my trailing arm kit shock towers on here. But like I said, they will bolt right up to the factory shock towers. So then I have these brass tabs on here. On the body, I have my LED light wiring. This all came out of some CR12s that I had. In the front, it uses your regular body posts and body pins. And in the rear, it uses body post, or my body nuts that I use on the power wagon project, and this one as well. And just like that, with those connected, I have power to my lights without having to connect or disconnect any cables, which is going to make using this truck a lot easier. At least for me, I hate having to connect and disconnect cables, but let me know what you guys think of this. I'm pretty much calling it done here. I got the interior inside, front bumpers done with a RC4 drive winch in it, and the rear bumper's also done. Alright guys, so here we are. I have the Jeep body complete, at least as far as I'm going to take it in this video. I do appreciate it if you have watched all the way through till the end. This is kind of a new style of video that I'm going to try. It's just one long video instead of stretching this out over many videos. Just make one large video that kind of shows it all. So as you can see, I have everything installed here now. My headlights are on. I did put these bumpers on. I haven't talked about them yet. This is just 3D printed, bolts onto the frame in the stock locations. There's no bumper mount in there. It's not the factory bumper mount, at least. And then I put this RC4 drive Warren winch on here. You guys saw me put the new synthetic winch line on it because the winch line that was on this winch was way shorter. And then I also have this little what is this, safety thimble instead of a hook on the front. So I did weigh this body. It's 3 pounds as it sits. Not the truck overall, but the body weighs 3 pounds. In my opinion, this is better than the Defender body I had on there because it had a lot of weight that was placed up high and towards the back, whereas on this I have a lot of weight. There's still some weight up high, but most of the weight you're going to see is positioned lower on the body. That Defender body is only 2 pounds though, so this is 1 pound heavier. You guys saw me detail the interior. All of these places where you see this black paint are engraved and then sanded off. But got fender flares on the outside. You saw me put those on. So this is kind of just a mix between 3D printed and aluminum parts, which is going to give this body a lot of strength compared to just a purely 3D printed body. This roof, if it was going to crack, it would crack this way because this is the way that it's printed. Typically printed parts will crack along the joints which they're printed, so if you print like this, it would want to crack along that plane. But this roof will most likely never be broken because it is supported by both the back window frame and our front windshield frame here. The hood I don't really have any concerns about whatsoever because of the angles that I've built into this, and this is a 1/4 inch thick, so shouldn't have any issues there. Along with the tonneau cover, I have no worries about. The tonneau cover is only 1/8 of an inch thick, at least for most of the center. All this aluminum is 1/8 inch thick. I went with it's kind of a half door design, but not completely, because as you can see, the door frame does go all the way up to the top, but there's no side windows in it. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to put the interior inside. It's also going to help keep the elements from getting into the frame, I guess, or the electronics. One with these stock Trx's Trx4 tires. They're about 4.5 inches tall, and they fit perfectly into my fender flares. These are Trx's 1.9 beadlock wheels. You guys saw the wheel weights on them. The only modification you have to make is to cut about 1/4 inch off of the front of these side steps, but the body does fall into those side steps. That's actually what the body's width is designed around, is fitting into those side steps. You guys saw the light buckets being put in place along with the lights. Here in the back, my brake lights did turn out a little bit pink, so I'll have to look for some red transparent paint, because those are white light bulbs inside of there. I just went with a simple rear bumper design that just also bolts into the frame. As you saw, the frame actually extended past the back of the body, so the frame is inside of the bumper. Now I can go ahead and pull the body off to show you guys how little has changed. Once I unscrew these body nuts, the lights will shut off, as you've seen. And that's because I did these brass tabs right here to get a wireless connection, basically. So those contacts just contact these that are on the frame, wired up straight to the battery that I have connected here. The truck itself is off. The interior does not require you to modify anything except shortening the antenna for the receiver. These shock towers are not required. You can use the factory rear shock towers. Here's our rear bumper. Only uses 2 screws, 1 on each side, because I don't think you get a screw into that bumper right there unless I modify the design. Which it's plenty strong as it is, being designed to fit so snugly into the frame. I don't have any concerns about breaking this bumper since it's so thick. But this is, if I haven't mentioned, I'm sure I have, this is my 12.8 inch wheelbase Trx4 Defender. Completely stock except for the bumpers I've added, the trailing arm kit, and of course this body. So here you can see my inner fenders set up. Inner fenders here as well in the front. And these are where our body posts set. As you can see, the hood is made much thinner around those body posts, otherwise you would not be able to get the pins in. Our light buckets from the back side, as well as the lenses. So now I'm going to talk about some of the options that are available for purchasing this on the website. At first, I didn't think that I was going to try and sell these, but I have decided that I'm going to try and sell them just because I think it's so cool and it's getting a lot of attention. If you like this, I will hopefully be building more of these if it's worth it to somebody, but the price is based off of the amount of time I have into this and materials, not really something that's going to be market competitive with a Lexan body because of all of the extra work that needs to go into building one of these bodies. So keep that in mind when you look at the price. This is not trying to compete with the Lexan body, especially on a weight standpoint, but this is very cool and definitely super unique to the market. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did enjoy this style, please let me know. I've basically taken 6 hours of raw footage and crammed it down, hopefully near an hour by the time I get this video finished for you guys. But this helps me limit the amount of talking that has to be done in the video and kind of allows you guys to see things progress faster than if I were to basically make a build series of 10 or so videos on doing this body. So Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.